Hello everyone and welcome back to Chinese Pod.
So that there's no confusion, who's Charlie and who's Carly?
I'm Carly.
And I'm Charlie.
So welcome back to our part 2 of our two-part series, where in the last episode we looked at a rude waitress.
Yeah, she was so rude that our main character, the customer, he left her store to go to the store across the road.
Yeah, so in our dialogue today, we're starting at the Baozi store across from the streets.
And we're gonna reveal the big plot twist.
So to find out, let's listen to the dialogue.
老板，要2个包子，
没问题，您要什么口味？
不辣的就好。
我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。
那各买1个吧。
好，一共40块钱。
您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。
我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。
老板，要2个包子，
没问题，您要什么口味？
不辣的就好。
我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。
那各买1个吧。
好，一共40块钱。
您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。
我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。
老板，要2个包子，
没问题，您要什么口味？
不辣的就好。
我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。
那各买1个吧。
好，一共40块钱。
您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。
我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。
老板，要2个包子。
Boss, I want 2 buns.
老板，要2个包子。
Boss, I want 2 baozis.
老板，要2个包子。没问题，你要什么口味？
No problem. What flavor would you want?
没问题，你要什么口味？
Not a problem. Which flavor would you like?
没问题，你要什么口味？不辣的就好。
Anything as long as it's not spicy.
不辣的就好。
Anything as long as it's not spicy.
不辣的就好。我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。
Our savory ones are meat buns and vegetable buns. Our sweet ones are black sesame and chocolate.
我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。
Our savory flavors include meat buns and vegetable buns. And our sweet flavors include black sesame and chocolate.
我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。那各买1个吧。
Then I'll have 1 of each.
那各买1个吧。
Then I'll have 1 of each.
那各买1个吧。好，一共40块。
Okay, that's $40 in total.
好，一共40块。
Okay, that's $40 in total.
好，一共40块。您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。
You're really nice. The waitress from across the street is really mean.
您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。
You're so kind. The waitress from across the street, she's so aggressive.
您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。
I know, that's my daughter. I told her to go work across the street.
我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。
Oh, I know. She's my daughter. I told her to go work across the street.
我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。Wow, so that was much more pleasant than our first dialogue.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we start with our main character saying, 老板要2个包子。
Yeah, so that's hey boss, and we established that addressing somebody by the title is actually
It's
not,
respectful,
yeah,
yeah.
it's very good. So he goes, boss, I want 2 buns.
Right. So if you actually translate it directly, it can be heard as like, boss, give me 2包子.
Yeah, it's like for me, whether it's give me 2 buns or I want 2 buns, it sounds kind of direct, you know. But I think in Chinese, it's actually not like that.
It's actually quite standard and it's very acceptable because we like to call out our desires like very straightforward.
Yeah, so on a scale of politeness, that is actually equivalent to something like maybe I would like to have 2 buns.
Or
right?
could I have 2 buns?
Yeah.
And there's another thing that's quite interesting in the Chinese culture is that we would actually raise our hands to call for the waiters or waitresses.
Yes.
And like call out for them.
I actually wait for eye contact. So I sit there and I like wait for them to look at me, and I wait for like 10 minutes and nobody comes to me to serve me.
I think a lot of the waiters and waitresses here in China they're quite used to people calling out for them. So they won't usually pay attention to eye contact as much.
Yeah, there's a cultural difference, I guess. Yeah.
And so if you would like to sound more polite, you can of course always say 请给我2个包子.
No, that's what I would say.
Yeah.
What about the reply of this particular waitress?
So she said, 没问题，你要什么口味?
Okay, that's very straightforward. It's like no problem. And then she says,
What flavor would you like?
yeah, and apparently there are plenty of flavors here.
So first let's look at 口味. So 口 is mouth and 味 is flavor. So if it's the flavor that works with the mouth,
Yeah.
it would be the taste.
But hey, so that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Should we get an example?
Do so. Let's see. Ice cream. How about that?
Oh, I love ice cream.
There are many flavors for ice cream.
冰淇淋有很多口味.
Oh, perfect. And what flavor does this customer want?
So he's actually very not picky. And he just says, 不辣的就好.
He really cannot handle spice.
Really no.
Yeah. And
And so this one means anything that is not spicy is good enough.
so should we take a look at the particular structure here?
就好.
It means like, you know, as long as something, and then I'm fine with it, right? So, Carly, ask me a question.
你要吃什么?
All right. As long as it's cheap, it's fine by me.
便宜的就好.
I think that works for everyone, right?
I think it does.
All right. So anything is good as long as it's not spicy. Now let's take a look at what flavors they have at this shop.
So she answers, 我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻、巧克力.
Wow, that's a really detailed answer, right? She even like categorized it into like savory and sweet.
So first, the savory ones, 咸的, they have meat buns, 肉包, and vegetable buns, 菜包.
All right, what about the sweet ones?
甜的有芝麻、巧克力.
I really like the zhima one, like the black sesame, right?
Yeah.
It's really special. What about you? Do you like black sesame? No?
It wouldn't be my first choice.
Chocolate.
Not really even. For buns, I would go for something that's more savory, so I would probably go for the meat buns.
Fine. Well, let's take a look at what our customer chose.
So he chose 那各买一个吧. So I'm going to buy one of each.
Well, he must be hungry. I think he burned a lot of calories when he was talking to the waitress back then, right?
Yeah. So first, let's look at 各, which means each. So 各买一个, which is to buy one of each.
So this looks like a handy structure. We can use it with any verb. How about we get some examples?
Sure.
All right, imagine this, Carly. We have 3 pizzas, 3 different flavors. All
Ooh, I
right,
love
we've got
pizza.
Hawaiian, pepperoni, and cheese.
Okay.
So which one would you pick?
I would first 各拿一片.
So you take a slice of each one. Then what are you going to do?
And then I would 各吃一口.
Take a bite of each one.
Yeah.
Wait, are you sure? Like each slice?
I would probably go for a whole one,
I would think so.
but you know,
No, I would eat all 3. Yeah.
good. And so for all of these, it's likely they're going to cost a lot.
Yes. But how much did it cost the customer to get 4 buns?
Well, our boss replied, 好，一共40块。
Okay, but that's not too bad, right? Like $40 for 4 buns.
It's reasonable.
Yeah. So $40 in total. Can we take a look at the word total?
一共
Okay, so that means in total, and it only works with a number after it. Should we get some examples?
Sure. So, for example, we have 4 people in the studio. 一共4位.
Right, but that was people, but does that work with, like, say, objects or anything else?
Sure. How about let's go back to pizzas?
Sure. How about, let's say, 3 pizzas in total?
一共3个披萨.
I think 3 whole pizzas.
3
that's
whole
enough.
pizzas.
That's enough for me.
Okay, so now, well, our main character really likes this waitress. So he says, 您真好，对面的服务员太凶了.
Yeah, so he compliments this waitress, especially in comparison to the last waitress.
Yeah.
So he says, "Oh, you're so kind."
Yeah.
But then he says, the waitress from the previous store is kind of a little mean, I guess.
So let's look at 凶.
Oh, it can be mean or aggressive, but I think there might be a better word for it.
I feel like you can also think of it as intimidating.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to have interaction with something for it to look 凶.
Yeah, it's because aggressive, it seems like you're attacking, but
Yeah.
this word, like, you can, like, do nothing and just look at somebody and
For
be
example,
intimidating.
yeah, for example, like a tiger could look intimidating, but you don't have to, interact with it or run away from it for it to look mean.
All right, perfect. Now that the customer talks about the waitress from across the road, no? So what does this waitress, the kind waitress, what does she say?
So she says, 我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的.
Oh, so I
Yeah.
guess
That's the plot twist.
Yep, we revealed everything.
So first of all, let's look at 叫, which directly translated would mean to yell or to scream.
I also use 叫 as like 我叫 Charlie. I'm called Charlie.
Yeah. And in this case, it means to tell or to give an order.
Yeah, it's like a causative verb. When you order someone, you give a command to tell them to do something.
Yeah, exactly. And so in our sentence, we also see another structure, which is 是 的. And now in our case, this 是 is omitted.
Right, because maybe in casual speech, for convenience, you can drop the 是.
So now let's look at this structure without the emphasis first.
Okay.
It would be 我叫她到对面上班.
Okay, so it's like I told her to go work across the street, but with the emphasis. So,
It would be 是我叫她到对面上班的.
oh, now it becomes like, it was I'm the one who told her to go work across the street.
Yeah.
Can we have, like, just one more example of this
Sure.
emphasis? It's very useful, I think.
我叫她去那里.
All right, so this would be, you told her to go over there.
But with the emphasis, it would be 是我叫她去那里的.
I was the one who told her to go over there.
Yeah.
Poor her.
Okay, so now after all that, let's listen to the dialogue back again.
老板，要2个包子，
没问题，您要什么口味？
不辣的就好。
我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。
那各买1个吧。
好，一共40块钱。
您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。
我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。
老板，要2个包子，
没问题，您要什么口味？
不辣的就好。
我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。
那各买1个吧。
好，一共40块钱。
您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。
我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。
老板，要2个包子，
没问题，您要什么口味？
不辣的就好。
我们咸的有肉包、菜包，甜的有芝麻巧克力。
那各买1个吧。
好，一共40块钱。
您真好，对面的服务员太凶了。
我知道啊，那是我女儿，我叫她到对面上班的。
Wow. Well, that was quite the plot twist that we saw.
It made me think about the movie Infernal Affairs, like 无间道. Have you seen it?
No, not really, but I know there's a Hollywood version.
There is. It's called The Departed. But anyways, long story short, is that one organization sends a mole to the other side just to sabotage stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what we saw in our dialogue.
Right.
So, if we ever have a business in the future,
Sure.
if we could maybe like a coffee shop,
Yeah.
we could do that. That sounds like a
course.
good strategy.
Right.
I would send you over as the mole.
Yes, but why me?
Well, I mean, I just feel like you would probably do the intimidating face better than I can.
Fine, then I'll just go to the competitor store, and if any customer asks me, what coffee do you have? I will say the most expensive one on the menu.
I guarantee that will work.
I will drive all the business
Back to
I
our
want,
place.
yes.
Okay, so that concludes our part 2 of our 2-part series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if any of you ever starts a business,
Sure, we can implement, this strategy and just get.
I
the
mean, it
business.
worked for the bun store, right?
It did. I'm sure it worked for you as well.
Okay. So at the end of the day, that's all for us.
And she's Carly.
He's Charlie, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Now, here's a vocabulary recap.
口味
Taste,
咸
salty, savory,
甜
sweet,
个
each,
一共
in total,
凶
aggressive, intimidating.
Chinese pot.